Hmm. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the another live stream. बैकग्राउंड का ये चालू ही रखना पड़ेगा लग रहा है बैकग्राउंड का ये ठीक है एक और ज़्यादा ही नीचे नहीं हो गया एक ज़्यादा ही ऊपर हो गया यस दैट इज गुड एक सेकंड ठीक है दिस इज गुड
Although I've sent myself into exile, I'm still doing essentially the same things as before. Do you still have any questions for me before we start our investigation? One of my former subordinates told me that this title has its origins in a strange incident. The academia has long exiled mad scholars to Aru village. When mad scholars first arrive, they are as incoherent and deranged as before. But initially, the people of Aru village greatly resented having to take in the mad scholars. But a strange incident one night changed that. Aru village was struck by the strongest earthquake in living memory. Seeing buildings on the verge of suddenly, he noticed a mad scholar crouching in a corner, caressing the ground with his hands. A soft, green light radiated from him, like a divine. Despite the powerful tremors that ripped through the ground that night, all the houses remained upright, almost as if they had grown roots reaching deep into the ground. In the end, not a single building collapsed. And after that, the people of Aru village treated the mad scholars with greater kindness.
A soft green light? A mad scholar protecting Aru village? Paimon thinks so too. Actually, Sino, do you know if any of the mad scholars continued to wear their Akasha terminals at Aru village?
In theory, they would continue wearing them so the academia could still monitor their activities. With that said, the main Akasha system would no longer have any interaction with them.
Hey. Hey. पता नहीं क्या हुआ
If you were able to draw a conclusion from this one story alone, then it appears you possess much more information than I do. So, what do you make of the story? Really? Lesser Lord Kusanali.
What? You don't believe us? Lesser Lord Kusanali was definitely using the Akasha to give her power to the mad scholars!
No, it's not so much that I don't believe you. Lesser Lord Kusanali, the current Dendro Archon. The Academia has always placed far greater importance on the late Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. They've more or less ignored Lesser Lord Kusanali, and I've never had any reason to doubt their views. In addition, I've never heard any stories about Lesser Lord Kusanali and her deeds. To me, she might as well have been a god.
No way! Nahida definitely exists! She's a... How should Paimon put it? She's a good Archon who's kind and wise. Even if she says weird stuff sometimes.
I've spent many years interrogating criminals, so I can easily...
Good! Then you should know that we're telling the truth.
That look in your eyes. I've never seen that from a... How can this be? To think. Our Archon has been amongst us this entire...
Alright, now it's our turn to put our skills to good use for this investigation. But easier said than done. Especially since we don't have any leads.
Excuse me, are you here to help me find my
Huh? Who are you?
By the sounds of it, a resident of this village.
Wah.
My name is Isak.
Is your grandpa a mad scholar?
Hey, don't say that. Grandpa is just Grandpa. Why do you have to call him that? It's not like he's...
The person you're referring to is not a local. Yet you are.
Grandpa is just Grandpa. I heard everything you said to the village chief. Please, you gotta take me with you. I want to find my grandpa.
Ah, so you're the one who was eavesdropping on us around the village. I was planning to go out and take care of whoever it was. But I had a vague feeling that they didn't harbor any ill intent.
Whoa. Hazen wasn't kidding about Matra having sharp senses. Sino, he's just a kid. All he wants is to find his grandpa.
Sorry, I was only listening in because I wanted to know where Grandpa went. Honest. If you don't believe me, you can ask Miss Candace.
All right.
Bitch. क्या बनना है भाई? उसका ग्रैंडपा खो गया है तो ग्रैंडपा को ढूंढना पड़ेगा ना.
Sino is super vigilant.
Ah, you're back already.
We just wanted to confirm something with you. Do you know...
I had a feeling he...
Huh? You knew this would happen?
Yes. Although he tried his best to stay hidden, I still noticed him eavesdropping outside the window. Isak's parents were both Aramite mercenaries who rarely returned to the village after finding employment in the city. He was... Unfortunately, it was only a few years before his grandpa passed away. Isak was still very young at the time, so various families in the village took turns caring for him so he... Later, an elderly mad scholar arrived at the village. Isak thought the scholar bore a striking resemblance to his grandfather. However, the scholar was unkempt in appearance and incoherent in speech. Although Isak referred to the man as his grandpa, he was afraid and didn't dare to. One summer night, the oft mumbling and bumbling grandpa suddenly calmed down and seemed to become more lucid. He even noticed. So Grandpa walked up to Isak and patted him on the head. He even took Isak to the entrance of the village, where he patiently taught the boy the names of the stars, and accompanied Isak. The next morning, Isak woke up and wanted to go find his grandpa again, only to realize It's said that those who saw the scholar claimed he no longer appeared to be crazy, but appeared to be living in his own world, almost as if he were sleepwalking. Isak was thrilled that his grandpa was able to find peace, and would follow him all the time, asking him things like, "Grandpa, want me to take you somewhere fun?" or "Grandpa."
All this somehow just makes Paimon feel really sad. It seems like they both
Perhaps. Nearly everyone who lives in the desert has some form of... It's also my reason for fighting.
Maybe the people have always had a considerate god watching over them.
Huh? What did you say,
No, nothing. As long as Isak keeps his word and doesn't get in our way, we can take him along.
Perhaps you are more compassionate than I gave you credit for.
Hey, Isak! We've cleared everything up. Let's...
Really?
Yeah!
Alright. Let's ask the local resident.
Excuse me, did you happen to see where the missing scholars went?
You mean the village keepers? Oh, when I was eating dinner the other day, I saw one of them by the side of the road, muttering away and eating mushrooms and tree roots. They shouldn't go around eating that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Anything else? No?
The scholars that have gone missing. Have you seen them?
Okay.
Those eyes. Those fierce eyes.
Don't change the subject.
Right. You were asking about the the mad scholars. I think it's been a few days since I last saw them. I usually go to bed pretty early, so I'm not too familiar. But honestly, I feel quite sympathetic towards them. Even though they act a little strange, they've helped me in the past.
Do you also think Grandpa and the others...
Grandpa? Oh, hello there. It's little Isak. You mean that nice man who looks like your grandpa's long-lost twin? He was actually the one who protected my house. I saw it with my own eyes. He happened to be staying near my house that day and was doing something with his hands on the... It still feels pretty surreal now that I think back on it. Did someone well, whatever the case, I'll always be thankful to him and whoever...
Gotcha. Thank you.
काम करता है ना सबसे पूछ लेते हैं ना कब तक कंक्लूजन निकल जाएगा
Seen my grandpa recently?
Oh, well, if it isn't Isak. Oh, the last time I saw him, he was spacing out by the road as usual. I went and asked him if he'd like any of the food I had prepared, despite my wife's protests. Like many people, she's really quite terrible. And speaking of my wife, she's still always complaining about how I don't make enough mora.
Oh, thank you.
It was nothing. You're looking for him, right? Did he go for a walk?
Yeah.
That's no good. Well, once you found him, come by my place again and I'll cook a little. I've known you since you were very young.
Wow, what a...
Okay.
Huh? Don't say anything for now. Let's head over there. Listen, see if you can make out what they're saying.
Have you heard? The mighty King Deshret, the sovereign of our faith, will soon return to this world.
Yes, of course I have. King Deshret is the one and only true ruler of this land. I've never... Still, you say he's coming back, but it sure doesn't feel like life's about to change around here anytime soon.
Haven't you noticed? The village has been getting more deranged scholars than ever. Delavar was saying that many people also went insane just before the fall of King Deshret's civilization in ancient times. We don't quite know why, but it seems like there's some sort of connection between. Isn't it a sign of King Deshret's power that all the mad scholars have disappeared? If you ask me.
Huh. Now that you say it, that does make some sense. Does this mean our lives?
Exactly. Those city folks will get what's coming.
Now, repeat everything you've just said from the very beginning.
Huh?
Who are you?
My patience is running thin. You heard what I asked.
Yeah. Bro, this guy's something else. Just
Let's not get on his bad side, okay?
okay, good sir. What is it you would like to know?
Tell me about King Deshret's resurrection.
Well, I only know a few things from hearsay. I went for a drink the other day and heard others talking about a rumor that the madmen will disappear and that King Deshret will return to this land. I'm not making this.
Hey, go on.
It's true. It's all true, sir. We desert folk have had more than enough of those people at the academia. They keep sending us all their mad scholars and won't let us have a good life. Would you want to live like this if you were in our place? The radicals were even more thrilled than me when they heard the news. We're all praying for King Delavar also said that once King Deshret returns to our side, it's only a matter of time before we conquer the land on the other side of the wall. They're all willing to serve under King Deshret and fight for us.
Is that so?
Seems like he still wants to know more. Keep talking.
Okay.
Got it! At first, I told myself it was just the drink talking, but then all the mad scholars vanished without a trace. Please don't beat me up just for mentioning these rumors. If I'm...
The people here really like King Deshret, but dislike the Dendro Archon.
Where is this radical person?
I haven't run into him over the past few days, so he probably hasn't been around the village.
No, not at all. We wouldn't dare lie to you. He's really not here right now.
Sounds like you're not too close with the radicals.
No, of course not. All we know are there...
I have many ways to stop you from talking. And many others to stop you from sending warning messages. So you'd best just stay home, don't do anything until I've gotten to the bottom of this. Try something foolish, and even Candace won't be able to protect you.
Yes, got it. We'll do just as you said.
That scared Paimon half to death. Sino is pretty terrifying. He didn't try to reassure us at all. It's like he's used to hearing that. Oh, Paimon bets lots of people have told him that before.
I heard that.
Sorry.
It's part of being a Matra. The rumor we heard just now seems like a strong lead. But we need to check a few more places. Very well.
Isak!
I'm here.
Where's your grandpa's house?
Well, I can take you there.
फॉलो करना पड़ेगा. बच्चे तेरी माँ की. बच्चे तेरी माँ की. बच्चे तेरी माँ की. बच्चे तेरी माँ की. बच्चे तेरी माँ की.
He likes to be alone. Sometimes he stares at the sky in a daze, and other times he just pokes at the ground with his
बच्चे तेरी
fingers.
माँ की.
Every now and then, he yells out at the top of his lungs, so a lot of people are really scared of him. But he's a good person, really. I know he is. I swear, he's just like my real grandpa. Well, this is where...
There sure isn't much here.
No.
Incense? Please don't say it's the same one, but are you okay? Are you...
There's a scent that you can sense, but I can't.
A certain traveler here once passed out from that smell. Thankfully, Tainari saved the day. And then he gave us a long lecture to
So, you know Tainari?
Huh? You know him
Yes. Now that I concentrate, I can...
Wait, surely Tainari didn't lecture...
No. No need. Did you first encounter this scent at Tainari's house? In the forest. From a...
What are you looking for, son?
Here it is. Take a look right here. Although the traces have been completely buried in the sand, from the size and shape, they belong to an adult male. The scent is quite faint, but still extant. The footprint...
But who would come looking for Grandpa?
We'd have to ask whoever lured him away with the incense.
Huh? So you can lure someone away with just a scent? Hey! What's wrong with liking good food? Everyone's got something they love.
Exactly. Most scholars are fond of incense, since the smell supposedly helps them clear their minds and discover new... Even deep within the clutches of madness, they still yearn for their knowledge-seeking days, and will follow the scent whenever...
No, Grandpa.
So, someone's taking advantage of their weakness? Huh. Still, what? Are the rumors really true? Could the disappearance of all the mad scholars have...
It's highly likely.
Please, you have to save my Grandpa. Grandpa's...
Sounds like we'd better help get him back. Don't you worry, Isak. We won't...
Let's head to Aru Village and inform Candace and the others about what we learned here.
Right. The darker fabric.
We're back, Candace! We've got a lot to...
Ah, welcome back.
Sounds like it.
Oh, Dia's here too!
You bet. So,
Reasonably.
I'll hate them didn't go with.
We haven't seen him at all.
Huh. I saw him around the village entrance earlier and figured he was investigating with you. I guess.
Did you find out anything you... I see.
The resurrection of King Deshret? First I've heard of it. Far as I know, the kind of incense you just mentioned is only popular beyond the wall. Scholars are fond of it, but as you can see, there aren't many scholars still studying around these parts. No seller would be able to make a not to mention making incense is a labor-intensive process. You won't see anybody in the desert with the patience to make or sell something that requires... It seems someone from beyond the wall must have been supporting...
Makes sense.
So what should we do then?
If it was any other day, that would be your next logical step. But today, you've got me on your team. So you get it. Didn't you say that the villager got his news from the tavern? Well, I also like to drink at the tavern, so I know a thing or two about these radicals he mentioned.
If Paimon remembers correctly, the leader of...
Ah, yeah. Delavar, the scar-riddled bandit, Engur, the wide-eyed butcher, and Jabari, the duck-tailed bearded crook. These guys have one thing in common, and that's being broke. The rougher life gets, the more they want to believe in King Deshret. Way they see it, King Deshret's resurrection is their only chance. Throwing all of Sumeru into chaos is the only way to change the way of life here in the desert. Anyway, that's my guess why they've chosen to become
Tia! You're amazing!
No merc can afford to slack off on gathering intelligence. Every mora I've spent in the tavern has been...
Let's head out.
Now hold on, you're staying right here.
What?
Aru Village is not a big place. Outsiders stand out here like a sore thumb. I'd bet word the desert is unforgiving, so the way of life here is also a lot tougher than on the outside of the wall. You survived. Compared to you, mercs like me are just third-rate amateurs. I've got no actual fighting skills to speak of. But that also makes... I need to go around and ask some questions. Good. Then we've got a plan. The Traveler and Paimon will go to Caravan Rebot with me, and we'll try our best to figure out where the mad scholars have been taken. Sign up?
All right, sounds like a plan.
Dehşet. Dehşet var मतलब ये
Sounds like you're starting to get familiar with the area.
Paimon's amazed every time we see the wall of some.
I know what you mean. I had the same question every time Also, why is this high wall here? And can a wall really block sandstorms? It was only after I grew up that I realized the wall of Samiel isn't just there to keep out the sandstorms. It serves a more... Sumeru is run by wise and mighty sages. To them, us desert dwellers are nothing but tools that can be used into... We're cheap labor, like livestock, but easier to control. Even if a child from the desert got the chance to obtain an Akasha terminal, almost all their requests for knowledge would be denied. The Act geniuses like Sataria are 1 in a million. The other children never get a single chance to try and rewrite their fate. Even though the academia knows very well that we're humans, just as they...
That's terrible.
I would tear down this wall with my own hands if I could.
Hey, Dia.
No, not at all. Besides, we're here to procure information.
Yep, we gotta catch the...
Shh! Caravan Rebot is crawling with people, so be careful. Our mission started the moment we arrived. Let's go check out the tavern. Just our luck. None of...
You mean, you don't see anyone?
Dia, is that you? What a coincidence.
Zaki.
Oh, and who do you have with you here? Guests from another land? Hello, hello. I'm Zaki.
We've had drinks together a few times. You could say we go back a ways. Anyway, as far as my friends here, they aren't too shabby, are they? You rarely see any Outlanders so friendly and respectful nowadays.
Absolutely. Much better than those people on the other side of the wall. So,
yeah. Have you seen Enger, Delavar, or Jabari
Of course I have. Matter of fact, we were all here drinking together just a few...
I've got a spice trading deal from another nation. I thought maybe Delavar and his friends might be interested.
Ah, how thoughtful of you. Then I assume you also know that Delavar's been having a hard time making ends meet these days. So, you came here to...
Hey, keep it down. Let's just say I prefer to keep this deal a secret. Y'all at Caravan Rebot are like family. If there's more to be made, why not do it together? Besides,
Yes, how considerate.
Let the show be...
Okay, that's right. That's good. Maki, like this.
Transfixed. Yeah.
What greater pleasure is there than the unexpected?
Okay.
Are we there yet?
Yep.
This place is practically deserted. What are they doing in a place like this?
Why don't you take a guess? Go on. A wild stab in the dark.
ठीक है।
What's this all about, Zaki?
Come on, Dia. You really think we didn't hear about what you said back in Aru village? The boys have kept a close eye on you from the moment you set foot there. Not only do I know that you're looking for Delavar, I also know that you've teamed up with people from the academia to look for—
So, you've been watching us from the very
Uh-oh. I'm a new leaving Sino behind with...
And you left the strongest one in the village, didn't you? Who do you think you are? You really thought we'd fall for—
So you and Delavar have been partners all along.
Dia, I guess it's only natural for a traveling mercenary like you to be—
ओ भाई मुझे अपना हार्ले दे दो।
Those who hang around the taverns got one thing
नहीं,
right. We're
एक
all
ही तो है
looking
मेरे
forward
पास,
to an
तेरे पास तो
uprising
15 है।
Sumeru. There's nothing more we'd like to see than the desert folk over—
If that's the case, then I'm sure Delavar wouldn't miss a second of it.
I'll be honest with you. If it weren't for what you said in the village, your little monologue about the Wall of Samio would have convinced me.
Delavar. And Engar, you're here too, huh?
Long time no see, Miss Mercenary. You should have known the traitors are what us followers of—
Dia, I thought that you, a fellow desert dweller, would understand why King Deshret is greater than the Dendro Archon. Little did—
Yeah, gee, what a missed opportunity.
मैं हार गया वो भाई। हमें सब बहुत है ना।
All because of some baseless rumors.
तेरे पास पैसों की क्या कमी है, ले ले।
See? There you have it. Mercenaries are just a bunch of faithless scum with only one thing on their minds. Mora.
You're not wrong. Mercenaries are driven by Mora, and my faith lies with whoever's paying me. As long as there's a profit to be made, anyone—
Enough talking! Get him!
Just as I expected. Let's teach him a lesson, traveler.
अब तो हार वो भी नहीं है।
Overruled.
A new punching bag.
Let's light it up! Everybody stand back!
Everlasting as the moon. Transfixed.
बाय बाय।
Impossible!
So, what do you think about your meticulous network now, Zaki? How did you say it? It's only natural for a traveling mercenary like me to be— I'm guessing your informant told you that I'm just an incompetent merc with no real fighting skills, correct? I mean, that is what I said after all. And of course you would believe everything he reported. The only thing you know about me is that I'm a mercenary, but you've never seen me in action. Even though you heard we went to handle monsters together, you believed that Candace was the only one doing all the real fighting. That so-called flame maid is just a fraud. She admitted it herself. She just uses her connections to gain the trust of others. That's what you thought, right?
You lied to
बेचारा।
the village because you figured that we'd have people watching you.
And you were stupid enough to fall for it. I figured as much the first time we drank together. You all thought you were so smart. Pathetic. Okay, that should be all of them.
Whoa! So you've been planning this since we were in
No task can be done without preparation. I just happened to notice a couple suspicious-looking people while you were out investigating.
Oh, but instead of catching them right away, you let—
Those two who were snooping around were just a couple small fries. If we want to get the real catch, we have to be patient and give it some time.
Oh, you mean the funny name she mentioned back in Uncle Ampu's house? The wide-eyed butcher, scar-riddled bandit?
That's just a bunch of drunk talk. Engar and Delavar like to talk themselves up when they're drinking. Engar, the wide-eyed butcher, and Delavar— Alcohol has a way of making people share what they really think. So Engar and Delavar are always rambling in the tavern about how King Desh—
What about Zaki?
He's just a numbskull who fell right into our trap. Zaki was probably the best hidden of them all. My initial plan was to find Delavar first, and then try to track him down. That's what you wanted to ask when we were at Uncle Anpu's house, right? Jabari is one of the villagers you talked to. You know, the one who wanted to treat Isak and his grandpa.
Wait, so he's a radical?
No, he isn't. I just needed to tack on a random villager name to make the eavesdropper think that I was making some wild guesses based.
Wow, what a genius idea!
Ah, you're too kind. It was straight from the usual playbook, if I'm honest.
Okay.
So, that thing you were saying before, is it really true?
About what?
About how mercenaries only care about Mora. And that...
Does that bother you? What makes you so sure?
Dia, do you dislike the Dendro Arc?
You two are pretty sharp. No, I don't have anything against the Dendro Archon. I've heard a lot of nice things about the Lesser Lord from Dunyarzad. I can understand her devotion and gratitude. Dunyarzad's just an ordinary person. There's no way a god would be so involved in the lives of everyday people, unless they were truly...
I've begun to realize that the sages are behind everything that's happened recently. The radicals' blind belief in King Deshret, making the Dendro Archon out to be an enemy. It's all the academia.
But I see through it all. And unlike them, I can never be hostile towards anyone.
Dia.
Anyway, looks like we're done with business here. Traveler, lend me a hand. Let's tie him up and bring him to the village. This should be all of them. I'll let you take it from here.
All right. I'll be in touch.
Candace, do you need any...
Candace will be okay on her own. I trust her. She's been guarding Aru village for quite some time now. If anyone is qualified to question the offenders, it's her.
While I'm questioning them, why don't you pass some time by exploring the area?
I'll meet you back here tomorrow morning, Traveler. As for these idiots, let's just hope they live to see another day.
Hey, Dia!
Right on time. We'll know any moment.
Paimon's been wondering. You seem to know Candace pretty well. Have you been...
We've known each other for some time now. She's a pretty interesting person. Even though she's an extremely strong warrior, she never misuses her powers.
Oh, Paimon knows what you mean. Like a lot of martial artists say, never take the fight out...
Yep, I guess you can put it that way. It takes strong convictions to be as dedicated as she is. And us mercs, on the other hand, we pretty much live from one day to the next.
Well, Paimon thinks you're great, too.
Really? Thanks for that.
Oh, Sino's here.
Yes. I was here yesterday to help out a little.
To help out? By doing what?
Sharing some interrogation techniques.
Oh! You mean you taught Candace some more...
Right.
Come on in, everyone.
Come on, let's go inside.
ठीक है. Oh la la.
Candace, where... Whoa, you look furious.
Do I? Oh, there's no mask that can hide true bloodlust. Cover up your eyes, and it'll still show itself at the corners of your mouth.
Perhaps I need to work on my composure. Still, it's perfectly understandable why I'm angry. I'm sure everyone present would agree.
Yes, yeah. Please, don't beat us anymore.
Well, looks like Sino taught her well.
You fear death yourselves, yet you do not hesitate to place the lives of others at risk. The absurdity is mind-boggling. The ones you call mad scholars are known to us as the Village Keepers. They are vital members of our community. You come here to my village, and you treat my people as nothing more than stepping stones towards your goal.
Mercy!
You've made your bed.
We may all be desert dwellers, but there is one thing that I understand better than you. The resurrection of King Deshret will only result in war. The people of Aru Village care little about which god is in power. Life may be tough and tiring, but we wish to preserve our way of life. A war would only cause us to lose all that we have. And that is not a responsibility that you can afford to shoulder.
We understand. We're sorry. I'll tell you everything I know. Please, just let us go.
I'm listening.
You might not believe this, but it wasn't us who came up with this idea. Someone was spreading rumors in the tavern. That's how we ended up hearing about King Deshret's resurrection. Some mystery man told us that mad scholars will make the perfect sacrifice to usher in King Deshret's resurrection. They give their lives, and we can get anything we wish for.
They're called village keepers. Slip up again, and you'll regret it.
Yes, sorry. It was all that mystery man's doing. He told us to spread the word about King Deshret's resurrection, and talked us into helping him. In return, he said he'll help facilitate the resurrection process. I'm not sure.
That's one.
Huh? One what?
Strike. You get a total of 3. Then, you die by my hand.
Wait, I'm telling the truth. We don't know anything.
2.
He got us to lure them out of their houses in the night with some kind of incense. We take them to a junction outside the village. Then the mystery guy takes them from there. You gotta believe me, please. I'm telling the truth, I swear.
That was indeed the truth. Traveler, go on.
You have to believe me. If I knew that, I would have told you his name right away. I'm not risking another beating to keep his secret. That guy, he wears a cloak, and he's always careful to cover his face. He calls himself...
I believe I may know what's going on.
Uncle Anpu.
Smooth.
Okay, speak.
If my suspicions are correct, this mystery man... Some time ago, people from the academia attempted to take the village keepers away. I refused, insisting that they are... It strikes me now that this secretive character...
Which means it's highly likely that the academia was purposely spreading a false rumor to trick the radicals into delivering the village keepers right into their... They were the ones who brought them here to begin with. Now they're trying to take them back? We aren't gonna...
Not the academia again.
Just as I thought. But what could they want with the village keepers?
People are nothing but tools in the eyes of the academia. A change in their plans likely means they found another way to exploit this. Regardless, our top priority now is locating the village.
You're right. Isak is still...
Time to go. Let's leave the village.
Yes.
You got it. Candace, I'll let you deal with the radicals. Leave everything outside.
All right.
Let's meet back here once everyone's ready. Let's get some food in us. Where did you come from?
Well, as you can see, I am merely sitting here and reviewing what we have deduced thus far.
You were gone for ages, and now you're suddenly sitting here musing to yourself? Hey, what's with the silence?
You never think things through before asking questions. I'm giving...
Paimon's so mad! Paimon's gonna give you an ugly nickname! Never mind. Paimon's got nothing. There's just nothing super obvious to pick with this guy. Makes it so hard.
Well, you've heard nothing to suggest I left this whole time. So clearly, I stayed in the village to invest. Anyway, you plan to leave Aru village and keep searching for the truth of
Yep. We're not gonna find out anything more by staying here, so we thought that we might as well... Enough with the silent treatment!
No. I'm just surprised that you decided to team up with...
All Hatham. You haven't helped us out at all ever since we arrived at Aru village. Bold of you to question our choices.
Yeah, you're all talk!
While you were investigating, I had my own work to do, which I've now finished.
Really? Paimon doesn't...
To be honest, we aren't really a team, so I have no obligation to inform you of my whereabouts. Not to mention that going separate ways allowed me to find some important information that you all had missed.
Huh? Right?
Correct.
What did you learn?
I'm going to take you to someone. But, before that, you need to understand where she...
What does that mean?
How do you think the residents of Aru village feel about what we're doing? In other words, do you truly believe every single word the villagers tell us?
You mean, some of them lied to us?
Hiding the truth does not necessarily equate to lying. Again, these people have their reason. Remember what Candace said? Most people in Aru village don't necessarily care which deity is in charge of Sumeru. That's because whether King Deshret or the Dendro Archon has power is of little significance to them. By contrast, the perils of their daily lives are ever-present concerns. They won't simply share everything they know with you without good reason. That's why you believe... Glad you're following along. Among those you have talked to, there's someone who was consciously keeping you out of the loop. In fact, she's been observing your every move since you arrived. The reason being, to someone who only wants to live their life in peace, any external factors introduce unpredictability.
Those eyes. Those fierce eyes.
Don't change the subject.
It's quite obvious that she's intimidated by Sino's authority and strength.
Right. You were asking about the
She corrected herself mid-sentence because she's aware that there are King Deshret fanatics in the village. If she sounds too friendly towards the village keepers, she could easily make herself the radicals.
I think it's been a few days since I last saw them. I usually go to bed pretty early, so...
Remember? She made a point of denying her involvement in anything that occurs.
But honestly, I feel quite sympathetic towards them, even though they act a little strange.
After speaking to the village chief, it became clear that the village keepers had protected Aru village at night. In other words, the young miss was very much awake during that time.
Then why would...
By getting involved with an outsider, she risks drawing unwanted attention to herself. As for why she might be so wary about all this...
I'll pass on this one. You said that she is afraid of me. If so, it's best if I stay out of this.
We're on it!
Yeah.
Miss Shawnee, as we discussed earlier,
Mr. Alhaitham, I'm aware of where you stand, but how can I make sure that you're...
Huh? What do you mean? We need to clear...
Go ahead and talk to her. You'll go on. Earn her...
Is it really that simple?
May I call you Traveler? Hi, Traveler. Do you think the resurrection of King Deshret can truly change Sumeru for the better? Why's that? That's very similar to what Miss Candace says. I know you two are friends. That's why I'm willing to talk to you, even though I do have some reservations. Before, I wouldn't even have the courage to ask something like, Traveler, do you believe our lives will get better?
Yeah! We came here from another nation, so it isn't wrong of you to be weary. And we aren't really residents of any one nation, but even so, we've met lots of people from different places, and we've always fought for what we believed in. We have friends in Sumeru, and we want to help them. That's why we decided to stay here for a while.
I want to trust you. My apologies for posing my questions like that. To be honest, I didn't expect...
Alhaitham told us you have your reasons. It's okay.
The fact is that only one side of my family is desert folk. I don't really fit in anywhere in Sumeru. Some believe in the Dendro Archon, while others believe in King Deshret. I don't belong to either side.
Speaking of which, the radicals mentioned that they despise traitors. Do they just think that anyone who's different from them is a traitor?
Yeah. Some people can be so narrow-minded when it comes to bloodline and beliefs. It makes no difference what I just stopped talking to people. I pretended not to hear or see anything. All I want is to... And then it happened. The village keepers who had helped me disappeared with no explanation, and I didn't dare breathe a word about it to anyone. Until now...
You can tell them. I'm sure he'll...
All right. I'll tell you what I told Al-Haytham. I actually have a sharper sense of hearing than most. Sometimes, I hear strange crying sounds in the night.
There are ghosts?
Perhaps. I'm not sure. It's faint, but it's definitely the sound of crying. It comes from far away in the distance, and always carries very raw emotion. It used to be louder and more frequent, but ever since you arrived in the village, it doesn't seem to happen as often. And when it does, it's much quieter. I have to focus really hard to...
I confirmed this with the guards on night duty. They also have someone with a good ear, and he's heard similar sounds at night. But, because we're in the middle of a desert, he would rather believe that they are the cries of beasts than ghosts.
There's really nothing around these parts, except for an old hospital not far from the village.
I think they used to use it for treating Elazar, but it's been abandoned for years.
Yeah, let's go!
Something with which to commemorate this occasion.
Oh, is this the place? Oh, it's in terrible shape, and there's sand everywhere.
Empty and forgotten. An ideal place to hide people.
Monsters! What
Bro, I can join your world. जरूरत नहीं है bro. मैं ऐसे बोलूँगा.
Super serious. We gotta stay on our A game too.
This is the one.
By the way, welcome to the stream, brother.
Let's go in and take a look.
Good to see you.
Patience. Shawnee says she only hears the crying at night. We have time to burn. Until then, I'm taking a break.
And just like that, he sits down. What are you reading? Let Paimon see.
Okay, sure.
Natural position, which is the positional propensity of an entity in natural motion in contrast with an object in forced motion? Huh? When...
So, you got that?
Oh, Paimon gives up. You keep reading your book. See ya!
It's
Look at him, reading an impossible book in a creepy place like this. Hey, Paimon's your Tibet travel guide. Paimon knows plenty of useful stuff already. And anyway, it's not Paimon's fault that the books people read in Sumeru are so complicated.
Bye. Where's the fish?
Paimon's getting so sleepy. Huh? What was that sound?
There it is. It's coming from that direction.
Is the sound coming from here? Huh. Paimon's not seeing anything.
Yeah, रोने का
It's from below.
But there's no...
Something is off about the interior here.
Okay.
As I thought.
Wow. It's like they tucked another hospital into this one. Oh, it looks like there are other mechanisms around here.
Okay, अब explore मेरे को करना पड़ेगा. नहीं? ऐसे मैं मर गया शायद. बच्चा साला अंदर कुछ अलग ही बकलंडी चल रही है। बाद में आता हूँ भाई। डैंड्रफ है क्या?
Is that the client? Wait.
मिल रहा है भाई।
Scanning.
Laid bare.
Come at me. This isn't my first trek into the desert, but I can never get used to the heat. Is there no shade?
चलो भाई भाई।
You want me on your...
ज़्यादा तो बैनेट हो।
Look, there's some good idea. Let's approach.
Wait. You're...
He can't speak, and his eyes are unfocused. But also, why is he the only one?
Didn't expect to see him.
You know him?
He's Razak, a senior of mine at the academia.
He's a scholar too? Is he the kind that holes up in a forest and mumbles stuff?
No. And that's the problem. Razak was never involved in any of those things. He never trained in the forest, let alone reach Satyavada life. Leaving that question aside for the moment, him being here alone means that we might... Looks like they've already taken everyone away. For whatever reason, they left Razak here. Perhaps they simply didn't have... There are drag marks on the ground. They're clearer by the doorway. Someone was forcefully drawing a cart that was loaded with something heavy.
Loaded with...
That is one possibility. It looks like they were in a hurry, as if they were afraid of being caught. The symptoms are identical. Look...
Huh?
Allow me to jog your memory. Recall your... Don't you think his symptoms look familiar?
Oh.
Oh, now that you mention...
Correct. The academia is behind. It isn't difficult to deduce their rationale. First, the academia spread a false rumor of King Deshret's resurrection, emphasizing the role of the village keepers, the mad scholars who were exiled. These rumors were all the persuasion that the radicals needed, and those based in Aru village leapt into action. Unbeknownst to them, of course, through rounding up the scholars, they were actually helping the academia. As well as being able to exploit the radicals for their own ends, this scheme has one further. Life for the desert dwellers has been brutal ever since King. Many would give everything they have for the prospect of something better. Anyone looking, even if complications arise, people will see that those involved are all followers of King Deshret and look for no further explanation than differences of belief. A deep-seated mistrust of the desert and everyone in it by the rest of Sumeru will make sure of that. The notion of an academia plot wouldn't even cross their minds. It may seem like a simple strategy, but it is able to work wonders under Sumeru.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. It's in line with the... But there's still one very important question. Wasn't it the academia that brought the scholars to Aru Village in the first place?
Throughout this process, one thing has changed. First, they were scholars. Then, they became lunatics. After that, they were exiles. An exile is still patently a living, breathing human being. But when someone becomes a missing person, if you can't find someone, you have no way of knowing what exactly happened to them. That makes missing people an ideal
resource?
One possibility is that the information in their brains could be extracted into knowledge
Extracted? You mean can't knowledge come?
With the technology of the Sumeru Academia, it's entirely possible. Perhaps the process caused them great suffering, which is why they cry out in the dead of night, when no one is watching them.
So, the human brain... Nope, nah, Paimon doesn't...
I'm the Academia scribe, after all. I'm familiar with their... Anyway, judging by Razak's state, the contents of a divine knowledge capsule were extracted from his mind. But something went wrong in the or perhaps his curiosity got the better of him, and he used such a capsule for himself.
Paimon's a little confused. Can they just use anyone's...
The look on your face tells me you've realized the answer. That's right. To some scholars, gaining knowledge about the gods is their entire life's pursuit. Extracting canned knowledge is just one of the extreme measures. However, I can't help but wonder. The Academia is going out of their way to look for forbidden knowledge, but I've spent quite some time trying to analyze the contents of the divine knowledge capsule, but to no avail.
You mean you're not even slightly interested in getting your hands on this forbidden...
All scholars seek to expand the horizons of knowledge, but I'm not particularly interested in gods, so I don't share their degree of extracting information from people as if they were lifeless objects? If this is the...
Sounds like you're really against all this.
Of course. The Academia's actions run contrary to their rules. Whether it be academics or knowledge, everything has its boundaries. If those lines are crossed, the rules and order that govern everything in the world will be destroyed. This matter needs to be corrected, just like fixing a typo in a book.
Wait, didn't you step in to help because you felt sympathy for those poor people?
Not to be callous, but no. My criteria are a little more restrictive than that. There is no shortage of suffering in Sumeru, and the same can be said for the rest of Teyvat as well.
Probably not. Paimon...
You can say that. Simply put, I don't blindly place my faith into strength or heroism. The divine knowledge capsule is something I want to investigate in full. That doesn't mean I'm willing to take action for the sake of a few
Paimon's been wanting to say this for a while. There are a lot of bad guys in the Academia, but you're not one of them. You're their weird...
You're probably right, though I must say, I quite enjoy this feeling of being the odd one out. Uniqueness is also an asset.
Wow, that's a great way to think about it. Paimon's really impressed. If only Miss Shani had a similar mindset, her life would definitely be a...
I'm just a more likable person than her in general. There's nothing more to it than that. He won't last long if we leave him here. We'll work out our next step after we return to...
adventure time.
We're back!
You must be tired.
What's the situation?
Unfortunately, somebody who's too young to take on the role of Isak's grandfather. Nevertheless, he's one of the people we're trying to find.
So, at one point in time, the abandoned Elazar hospital served as the academia's site for—
Yep, pretty much!
Their plan must have been implemented at some point before we arrived at Aru village, since divine cant and knowledge has been in circulation for a while. Yet, they fled once we were headed to the village. Almost as if—
We may have a mole in our midst. One of us could be secretly revealing our whereabouts to the academia.
Huh? Are our friendships that shallow?
Looks like none of you have realized wherein lies the issue. Sino, you're the reason why they can predict our movements.
Wait, what's that supposed to mean?
Choose your next words very carefully.
It is simply a logical inference. I have my reasons.
So what you're saying is... interesting. And here I thought you were the most suspicious one, Al-Haytham. Since...
I know. You have a point. But I realized something as we were returning from the hospital. Sino isn't like any of us.
What are you trying to say?
Do you still remember who you are, General Mahamatra? As a Matra, you are no doubt privy to certain kinds of information. Before you can take action against someone, you are required to have all the facts available, including the less than savory details. Simply put, the academia has traditionally allowed you access to a wealth of sensitive information. Knowing their modus operandi, wouldn't you expect them to take precautions against you? If you want to raise a vicious wolf, you need to make sure that you can avoid its bite.
The academia is monitoring me?
It's not that simple. The academia has eyes all over Sumeru, but they have a special protocol for every so often comes a Nyagarbaha day. On this day, the academia enters new information into the Akasha through knowledge. I remember seeing a thick notebook next to the control panel once. Its contents were all about the General Mahamatra, his activities throughout the day, preferred methods of enacting judgment.
You're saying that the academia entered my information into the Akasha but what's the point in doing that? My actions aren't important enough.
The Akasha is capable of computation. The Akasha's algorithms are entirely capable of predicting your movements using the data entered. When you would depart, the route you would follow, your destiny.
It predicted my every move.
The academia has been watching you longer than you think. However, the fact that you resigned is proof that their suspicions were well-founded.
So that's how it is. Sino adheres to his principles so strongly that he's actually a thorn in their side. Tenacity of will and steadfast faith are worthless to the academia. They need scholars who are easily pliable and mindlessly go after any— Sino, don't take it to heart. This just proves how much of a trustworthy ally you are.
They escaped because of me.
Don't blame yourself. It's not like any of us would have known.
I have an idea. If they predicted my movements, then I might be able to guess where they went.
Whoa, you bounced back fast.
There is always an opportunity for safety after danger passes.
Oh, so that's how it is! Paimon gets it now. If the academia is trying to avoid Sino, then the safest... Yep, that's right!
They'll want to proceed in the direction opposite of where I'm going. I must go.
There's also something I want to investigate.
Let's go, guys!
Please, wait! I want to go...
You want to go too?
I want to find Grandpa. I promise. I'll be careful.
Everyone, I leave him in your hands.
Yay! Let's go! Paimon feels like we're missing someone, though.
किससे तो भूल गई हैं।
from here.
Yes. After leaving the village, we should head straight toward the desert.
I know the desert like the back of my hand.
Is that because you play here a lot?
Yep. One time, Grandpa almost got lost in the desert, but I was the one who brought him back.
There's something here. What's this?
It's buried in the sand.
And Paimon thought running around everywhere was already enough work. Okay. So, we have to...
These are likely fragments of an academia-developed device, something akin to a head. Looks like there were more than one village keeper. They must have been escorted this way, because there are device fragments scattered around. Let's split up and search the area.
Is this what we're searching for?
This is definitely a device used to extract divine knowledge.
How did it end up buried in the sand? That can't have been part of the plan. They must have been attacked along the way.
Wait, what?
Grandpa, I hope you're okay.
Don't worry. Your grandpa's gonna be...
Razak didn't display any signs of starvation or dehydration, which means that they left fairly recently.
We should be able to catch up.
One more thing. Given that the device had been entirely covered by sand, I believe the attack must have happened prior to the sandstorm.
Let's keep going. They can't have gone far.
Ugh, but running on sand is so tiring.
But you're flying, aren't you, Paimon? Is flying over sand tiring too?
Ugh, of course it is.
Voices, over there. It sounds like an argument.
Whoa, you have really good ears.
Don't get any closer. They'll notice us.
Dia's talking with the Eremites? Very interesting. Let's listen in.
If you had informed me sooner, there'd be plenty of room for us to...
You're one of us. We would never lie.
Scholars. You don't know as much as I do. Need me to...
I knew it. That's our Dia.
Dia? Why would you... Dia!
Hey, what are you doing?
Huh?
Yeah.
Didn't you say you'd help me find Grandpa?
Well, look who's here. Ain't that something?
This complicates things.
You've betrayed Aru village.
So, this is the great general. Dia, you'd be better off as my assistant than hanging around with this motley crew. Seen for yourself. I have the means and methods, and my ideals are far more...
I'm not the type that's easily swayed, Raman. You of all people should know that.
Wait, what's going on, Dia? Whose side are you on here?
Shut it, Paimon.
It doesn't matter. Whichever side you pick, nothing can deter us from the grand mission of resurrecting King Deshret. Once our Lord of Old returns to this land, we will have a new beginning.
Face the facts, Raman. It's not gonna happen. You should understand that more than anyone. Have all your years as a merc taught you nothing about placing hopes in a ruler?
I'm a desert dweller and a proud follower of King Deshret. Whether I live by the edge of the sword or in peaceful comfort, my soul will always carry this conviction.
It's not too late yet. The village mad scholars aren't gonna bring King Deshret back to life.
You don't understand, my dear lady. Pursuing our faith is our purpose in life. Even if the chance of success is 1 in a million, we must be willing to give everything we have.
Even if it'll expose you to the academia? Even if they end up disbanding the Eremites? Your Eremites, which you've worked so hard for all these
Yes. We've waited a long time for this day to come. The sun and the moon no longer shine here. All you see now is cracks in this desiccated land. But fate has finally dealt me a hand to play against the Academia. With these scholars in our custody, we'll stomp the Academia's forces and fight our way beyond the wall.
Ridiculous. Think about it. The Academia controls the entirety of Sumeru. Your powers are negligible in If you still don't believe me, then try asking these two men. They're also against the Academia, but neither of them are as arrogant as you are.
They look more like pawns of the Academia to me. Why would I listen to anything the people... Filthy traitors. Your god abandoned all honor and betrayed King Deshret. We desert...
It's impossible to communicate with someone so hostile. Perhaps we should.
Do you really believe that by kidnapping the scholars, you'll be able to negotiate with the Academia? These people have no value as bargaining chips. But I could be persuaded to take their place as your next hostage. These scholars were exiled from the Academia. I, on the other hand, am their current scribe, and will be a much greater asset to you.
Wait, you can't be serious.
So, you want to trade
Precisely. Any wise person...
What are you thinking? What if they decide to kill you instead?
Well, that would be bad luck for me. However, I'd get the chance to observe the scholars. Perhaps even find out the truth.
Think you can talk me over with that confident look of yours?
I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm using this as a means of joining forces against the Academia.
You are the scribe. What do you have against the Academia?
Not all desert dwellers believe in King Deshret, and the same applies to the Academia. Why must all knowledge seekers approve of the Academia's way of doing things?
You Academia scum. Every last one of you is nothing but a hypocrite, just like everyone else on the other side of that wall. I've made myself clear.
Not so fast. I'll hate them. Do you stand by everything you just said?
I never make empty promises.
You know you're making a dangerous decision.
I do.
Good. Raman, hear me out. These people are my friends. Maybe you can't take the followers of the Dendro Archon at their word, but what about me? Do you trust?
We've known each other for years.
In that case, I'm willing to vouch for their honesty with my right arm. Come on, Raman, don't be a coward. If you're serious about taking on the Academia, you need to steel yourself. You can't be
An arm from the Flame Mane. You've piqued my interest. But what if you refuse to oblige? What should I do then? No one's a fool here, Dia. We're mercs. And mercs don't tend to live long unless they have their wits about.
You're not wrong, but this is different. I promised my friends that we'd bring back the village keepers together.
Let's do it right here then. Give me your right arm as proof of your resolve.
Don't listen to him! He's not even trying to negotiate! He just wants to make things more difficult!
That's fine.
Are you crazy?
We came here to save lives. One arm for that many people is still a pretty good deal, if you ask me. Raman, I'm holding up my end of the deal here. You'd better not let me...
Sure. Go ahead and cut off her right arm.
No! Dia! What are you gonna do? Think of something!
You don't have to go this far.
That's not for you to decide.
Do it!
Dia! Run!
अबे क्या कर रहा है करना
Stop!
What's wrong?
Flame Mane, you and I are both desert folk. Cutting off your arm is no different than cutting off my own fingers. Where's the sense in cutting my own... You've shown me that you're serious. Go on now, take your friends and leave. Me...
क्या ही बंदा है बेच उतनी भी अच्छी नहीं है यार, क्या है कि
I was really counting on him not going through with it.
That was crazy. Have you all lost your minds? What if he...
Then I just have to hold my claymore with my left arm. Okay, I'm sorry. But sometimes when you're out on a limb, you gotta double down.
Don't ever make a promise like that again. I can deal with the likes of them. If it came down to it, you would not lose to them either.
I don't doubt it, Sino. But this is about more than me and them. There's a lot more where they came from. Even if we got rid of one bunch of radicals, there are others out there. Wiping them out would do more harm than good.
I'm sorry, Dia. I should have stayed put and listened.
It's okay. I promised you I'd help find your grandpa, so I'll do whatever it takes.
अबे बहन का इसको नहीं लेने चाहिए, इसको लेके नहीं जाना चाहिए.
Huh? Are you serious?
The Eremites once said that I was a lunatic. Perhaps a little madness is essential to be successful in research.
Why does it feel like he's using his praise for me as an excuse to brag about himself? Okay, let's get moving. We should head back to...
You're all here so early.
Looks like we have everyone here. Isak, are you sure you want to come with us?
नहीं.
I'll watch from a safe distance. Dia.
Okay, let's...
Dia, wait.
What's the matter?
I heard that you were quite reckless yesterday. No more of that today, understood?
Fine.
ये बहन के टके साथ जाना ही नहीं चाहिए किधर. Are you saying you wanna get... भाग. बच्चे तेरी माँ ऐसा बोलना चाहिए. कहाँ से कहाँ लेके जा रहे. चलो.
got here before us.
Uh-oh. Is it because Paimon overslept by 5 minutes and held everyone up?
Is everything ready?
Absolutely. You brought fewer people than I imagined.
Bring him over.
Grandpa! Why is there only one of them?
Raman, I've always thought of you as a man of his word. What's this about?
It's a one-for-one exchange. Sounds, and let me put it this way. Agreeing to any kind of deal with the Dendro Archon's people is already a huge compromise on.
You stay right there!
Ya bueno, creo que
What do you think you're doing?
Beh, però
Coward, why are your hands shaking? Wait a second, it's a earthquake!
ये भैंस की मेरे है
Paimon's dizzy.
This day's going just great.
What a nuisance. The sand dune collapsed. I saw an energy field. The village keeper protected us. It glowed green with dendro. Just like you said, it may well have been the remains of Lesser Lord Kusanali's power inside the scholar's body. The Dendro Archon.
Grandpa? Grandpa?
Hey, look around you.
There used to be a temple here?
It seems that when the sand dune collapsed, it exposed these underground the symbols on the gate belong to King Deshret's civilization. This structure must be ancient. Over time, the sandstorms completely buried it and left it in the state we see now. It could have been an underground palace in the distant past.
Oh, a miracle. Praise King Deshret!
What's he doing here?
They must have fallen down here with us. Pretty Most of them seem in really bad shape. Except for him. He...
Mind your head.
No, this isn't the time for conflict. Our exalted lord has shown us the way to his sacred palace.
He's not actually gonna go in there, is he?
As it happens, I want to take a look inside.
What are you doing?
Don't you think it's curious? 1 minute, Lesser Lord Kusanali's power protects us from harm, and the next, remnants of King Deshret's civilization. 2 major deities are vying to showcase their power to us. It would be a shame not.
Paimon thought you weren't interested in...
Indeed. In my view, gods are just a higher form of living being. Or creature, you could say. New discoveries are always worth investigating.
creatures, yes.
Whether they have anything to do with gods is neither here nor there.
Raman, what are you gonna do about your
I'll just let them lay here. King Deshret...
चल जाएगा
It's full of life here. This defies comprehension. It looked completely desolate from the outside.
Yeah, and there's so many plants. It's so pretty.
Sir Raman.
Huh?
Do you see another Raman here?
Are you mocking me?
Interpret it however you want, but there's something I'd like to draw your attention to. While this structure is clearly left over from King Deshret's civilization, the energy that flows in here is that of the Dendro Archon.
Whatever you say. It's not like I have a vision.
There's nothing to be angry about. Think of this as an academic journey.
It does seem kind of strange. If that's true, then we might have to explore this whole area to find an
Look up at Hall as a mortal. पता नहीं हो गया ठीक है
Let's dance. Overruled. So
ये ओ मतलब हाँ जानिए बाय बाय
I'm going in. Wanted my full attention, did you? That's gonna hurt in the morning. Let's light it up. Off we go. Motion to compel. Boom boom. It's Jerry. Hi. Oh. Why do they never miss? No! Teamwork is dreamwork. Let's light it up. The hearth. Now it's Let's dance. Hi. Let's light it up. Everybody stand back.
Harley can't heal herself. अरे
Why do they never miss? Let's light it up. Off we go. Let's light it up. I'm going in. Transfixed. Yeah. Everlasting as the moon.
मरना मत बस अब हो गया खत्म है ये लो मैं नहीं कर रहा अभी तब तक ये चिंता नहीं होती अर्ली के लिए सपोर्ट अच्छे से सेकंड Hmm.
Now that's a sight to see. King
Okay.
Deshret's splendor surrounds us.
There's so much vegetation here. It's different than what I expected.
Sure are a lot of plants for a desert.
That's what I call divine providence of King Deshret.
ये तो यही नहीं है I'll be like नहीं जाऊँ
It's getting brighter. Oh, it looks so beautiful.
Wait, what's that?
A load of flowers. And it looks like there's something among them.
These are...
They left something behind. Yes. It's an elegy written in an ancient script.
What does it say?
Here lies our faithful priest Kasala. His wisdom is a miracle among the people, deserving of high praise and admiration.
You can read ancient King...
Of course. Every student needs to master at least 20 languages before they graduate.
He's not serious, right?
There's still something off about this place. The elemental and the scent of life. Is it trying to tell us something?
Is this it?
Analyzing.
There seems to be a hidden message among these skeletal remains. Excellent. There's a device from King Deshret's civilization in this gravesite. I'll transmit the information over and project it for everyone to see.
Isn't sharing knowledge against the Academia's...
Yes. However, under the circumstances, I'd prefer you to see this. You'll understand after watching it.
चलो
Civilization is born of knowledge, but so too can knowledge be its demise. A disaster caught us unaware. It was knowledge that did not belong to this world. King Deshret brought this forbidden knowledge into our world, and it quickly spread like a plague.
okay
People's minds were filled with crazed whispers. Dark gray scales spread across their bodies. Even the land was
इच्छुका
stripped
दिखा
of
है
its
भाई
vigor. Only a desperate, deathly silence remained. Were it not for greater Lord Rukkhadevata from the forests, the damage would have been irreversible. She summoned the priests to build temples and infused into them the divine power of life. The disaster was miraculously tempered, and the embers of our civilization were preserved in Aru village. Alas, the miracle could not last. As long as forbidden knowledge continued to exist, it would forever blight this world. In the end, the proud king of the desert, my eternal lord, chose to sacrifice himself. I have spent my whole life since guarding one of these many temples.
okay
Now, my duty is coming to an end. As I close my eyes for the final time, the sight of that noble deity will appear in my vision once more. In helping King Deshret to eradicate forbidden knowledge, she exhausted her strength, and her form became that of a small child. How strange.
Oof.
Now that I think of her, I no longer have any fear of death, for I sense that the spirit of life will abide with me during my eternal sleep. Children of the desert, cling no longer to past grievances, but hold tight to the memory of this act of benevolence.
Oof, oof, oof.
The priest's memories.
No, impossible.
Greater Lord Rukkhadevata.
But this doesn't make any sense.
Was that the former Dendro Archon? She became so tiny in the end.
You might be distrustful of the Akasha, but there's no reason for you to doubt King Deshret's technology. You've just witnessed his priest's last word.
I've never heard about any of this before. The surviving followers of King Deshret all gathered in Aru village. Our god did not make mistakes. King Deshret's death, the all but total annihilation of our civilization, we saw her as nothing more than a traitor who stabbed us in the back in our moment of crisis. Just like us humans. Fighting, feuding, double-crossing each other to survive.
You were blinded by your prejudice.
If I hadn't seen this for myself, if I hadn't witnessed his last words with my own eye, how could I ever begin to accept this? The truth is so far from what I've always known. Am I really supposed to believe that after all these years...
Rahman, that's enough. Give it a rest. You're starting to make a fool of yourself.
Dia, tell me, my Aramites and I, what are we even fighting for?
Hey, how you doing?
I'll live. Thanks. I should probably go. Can't just stay here forever.
What's your next move gonna be?
Oh, I know what you're going to ask. I feel deeply ashamed of everything I've done. But please, give me some time. After everything that's happened here today, somehow I need to explain it to the others.
It's not gonna be easy.
Well, I guess that's for me to deal with. Dia, this is where our camp's located.
When would be a good time for us to go?
Tomorrow. I'll convince everyone that we're all on the same side.
ए डुल गए क्या हुआ?
And I'll return.
क्या बे भोसड़ी के?
Sorry, your village.
साले.
We'll share our other resources with you too.
You seem to finally understand that our true enemy is the Sage.
Yes. The gods never gave up on anyone.
That must have been rough. But he seems to have...
Rahman's no fool. Being the leader of your own faction in the desert is no easy feat. It's too bad he was held back by his belief in King Deshret. But now that that's changed, I guess we have a few more people on our side.
The outcome, at least, is favorable.
We should get going too. Let's head back. Have a proper... Final, we're leaving!
Stop yelling.
चलो Yeah, enemies are? I think so. Yes.
A new punching bag.
Adventure time.
वो रुक जा पहले तीन तीन मारा ना लगा दो Okay.
Raman, we're here.
Everything's been arranged. Someone will bring the village keepers back to our roof.
I guess all I can say now is...
Don't mention it. I think we can both agree that we share a common cause now. From here on out, we're out.
Where are the perpetrators?
I'll bring you to them. Follow me.
So these are the people who kidnapped the village keepers.
Oh no, it's the scribe!
There's no need to yell. No one can help you now.
We've been all over the desert trying to find you.
That's right.
Maya.
No, no! Make it quick, please!
Whoa. The moment they set eyes on Sino, they turned pale like they've seen a ghost.
You should have known that I would be coming for you.
Wait, we were just following orders. You know what I'm talking about, right? There's no way we could have done all this by ourselves.
No, not Sino. He's gonna tear us limb from limb.
I could do worse.
Please have mercy.
Start talking. Otherwise, I'll have to resort to other.
So, your superiors have kept you quite busy recently. Why?
They, wanted to extract canned knowledge.
Don't play dumb. You know they extract divine canned knowledge. Then what?
I don't really...
Well, you better start talking or you'll be...
You don't want to make things any more difficult for yourself, do ya?
Be my guest.
Uh-huh. That sure didn't sound like a fancy metaphor or anything.
How did you know?
There's no use hiding it now. Yes, you're right. The Academia is working on an important and potentially world-changing project. They are creating a new god. A god that will belong to them and to the people of Sumeru. It may seem as if Sumeru's academics are thriving, but ever since the death of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata, scholarly breakthroughs have been few and far between. The withering of Irminsul has been getting worse recently. The sages have tried everything they could think of, but nothing's worked. I'm always hearing them say things like, if only Greater Lord Rukkhadevata...
Continue.
And then, someone from the Fatui showed up. They called him the Doctor. He brought a gnosis, and said he wanted to borrow the Academia's research facilities. The Doctor was previously expelled from the Academia. At first, the sages looked down at him in disdain. But when he said those words, everyone's expression he asked them, do you wish...
This is what the arrogant ignorance at the extreme end of academia looks like.
First, the Academia spent a long time constructing a divine vessel, which was based on an exquisite humanoid puppet. After that, they harvested dreams via the Zeb-Zerus Festival Samsara, maximizing the Akasha's output. With the Doctor's help, and the Akasha now functioning at maximum efficiency, they were able to use it to extract the power from the Gnosis and convert it into a divine core. Next, they decided that their new god needed to possess divine wisdom. For that to happen, they needed a huge quantity of divine...
It adds up.
But how do you determine whether the knowledge extracted is of divine origin?
Call it an educated guess? The academia has been trying to figure out the exact source of the scholar's madness for centuries, but to no avail. Nobody can explain the cause of this phenomenon. Surely you can see what that implies, Scribel. If it's knowledge no mortal can comprehend, then it must be something only gods are able to decipher. In other words, it's the source of the god of wisdom's omniscience and omnipotence.
You must have noticed by now. The academia doesn't care about who their god is. It's the ability to exercise control over knowledge and wisdom that matters. It is as if they are cursed with a desire for omniscience and omnipotence that burns in their blood. Some organisms demonstrate phototaxis, and thus orient their entire lives in respect to sources of light. For the sages, their only source of hope is the existence of a deity who embodies the acme of wisdom. This is but a form of phototaxis. For many scholars, the absence of a god of wisdom means stumbling in the darkness for the duration of their lives.
Then what does Lesser Lord Kusanali mean to you? Is she not a true god present in this world? If you already have a new god, why try to
From the beginning, the academia has never treated her as a god. When the academia first discovered Lesser Lord Kusanali, the newborn god of wisdom, the sages hoped that she would be as wise as Greater Lord Rukkhadevata. They found that at the time, she possessed no more intelligence than any ordinary human child. The sages never had a ruder awakening. This forced them to accept that Greater Lord Rukkhadevata had indeed passed away. Not to mention that Lesser Lord Kusanali's gnosis had been used to power the Akasha this entire time. By herself, she has neither an Archon's raw power, nor the spectacular insight expected of a god of wisdom. Slowly but surely, people began to forget about her existence.
So, this is the path the sages have chosen.
Okay.
All right, let's try to keep our cool. If everyone's in a bad Raman, give me a few men to help us escort the village keepers back to the village. And these two scholars...
Sure.
चलो आ गए हम वापस ये चलो भाई मेन सेशन चालू
The village keepers you found have all been returned to their homes. In each...
The atmosphere... Hey! Say something! Stop spacing out!
Come on, is there nothing left to talk about? In that case...
Or I can go fetch...
Oh! Paimon!
Do you have any plans, traveler?
Gods above, you're not talking about work, are you?
So you were still withholding some information?
Even though we lived through all of this firsthand, it still feels super surreal to hear you talk about it.
What a whirlwind of a story. Felt like I was holding my breath the whole time.
It seems like there will be more issues to face in the days ahead than I had anticipated.
Still, now's a good time to make our next move. Now that Raman's joined us, we'll be an even stronger team.
It's time to make a plan.
Indeed. These events are a flagrant transgression of the rules in every sense. We cannot allow it to...
So, everyone, are we on the same page?
Crush the sages and rescue our god. That is...
Well, let's brainstorm a little more about what other resources we can draw on.
The next time we gather here, we must have a solid...
Yep, it'll work out.
फिर से बोलेंगे अब ये क्या कहाँ पे?
Candace, we're here! Has everyone arrived?
Everyone is already waiting in.
Well, what are we waiting for?
Please. Wait a moment. Before attending the meeting,
What do you need?
promise me that you won't commit to anything too
What do you think?
Okay.
बे और कितनी देर है इसको?
Everyone's here, so
We already discussed things a bit.
Hey, where have you been?
Are you ready?
Very well.
are you sure this is gonna work?
I gotta admit, it's bold.
The point of discussion is to arrive at a solution. Let's cut the small talk and move to the next point.
You're making pie.
You're finally done.
I have some other stuff to take care of. Catch you all later. Come on, don't give me that face.
That's what I wanted to hear. Well, traveler, Paimon, judging from your expressions,
You can tell?
I'm not that good at scheming or strategy, but I can sense people.
Paimon's a little worried.
To be honest, I feel the same. Your deeds speak for themselves.
Candace, we stayed behind to tell you that.
I'm very glad to. I've said the same thing to everyone here today. As only when you're safe can the plan be successful. You're welcome. Good luck.
क्या होने वाला है यहाँ तक?
Sounds good. I'll go.
Okay.
I'll hit them!
Have you finished saying your goodbyes?
Yeah! Also,
Yes, she did. But I think my point also bears repeat. Our plan is not child's play. We won't be able to achieve anything if we're simply careful. We must go. I hope this is clear to you.
huh? Shouldn't you be saying something more cheerful to boost our...
Didn't we already do that during the meeting?
You can never have enough words of encouragement.
In that case, Candace can cuddle you to your heart's content while I continue. We all have our jobs to do after all. It's like how some people can...
Speaking
Of course. Compared to the but the advantage of not being a mercenary is that I just think about that mercenary who lost his mind.
Well, being a scholar is also a high-risk occupation.
I'm not like the rest of them. Even among members of the same species,
This guy.
all intellectuals are lunatics in the eyes of fools. Do you remember the record we saw in the King Deshret ruins?
It meant... Wait. Seriously? Come on. It was a...
Oh, it's all coming...
Forbidden knowledge has the power to drive people... I think... Those mad scholars and mercenaries we encountered may have all fallen, but the academia has always helped. Come to think of it, perhaps the academia has also never understood the true nature of forbidden knowledge. The Withering, Elazar, and the Sandstorms. Don't you think what is happening right now across Sumeru is...
But Paimon thought that Irminsul's disease is what caused the withering in the... At least, that's what Tainari told us. Wait a second.
Ah, you've connected the dots. The cause of Irminsul's illness may precisely...
But if that's the case, what should we do? This is huge!
Wait. Why do you think Lesser Lord Kusanali would have a solution to this situation?
You mean, it's related to the scene you saw when you passed out in the Avidia forest? That whole...
In that case, it's imperative that we rescue Lesser Lord Kusanali. Only by working with her to save Irminsul can we completely resolve the problem Sumeru... To make sure we're still on track, I would like to check on the stick...
Where are we going?
To an Aramite base.
ये फिर से ठीक है
Ah, they're here.
Huh? What are...
I gave them some technical...
Ah, it's the scribe. And is that the traveler I see?
How's the work going?
Ah, yes! We have fixed the devices according to your instructions. One of them is already ready for use, while the others are still under repair.
Aren't those devices for can knowledge extraction?
Look here.
Huh? More can knowledge?
What's that look on your face?
Paimon's a little scared, but they're...
That's an interesting response. Anyway, we're not going to use this just yet. As I mentioned during the meeting, this knowledge capsule contains a decree I drew up in the past. The academia should also have their own copy. Traveler, I want you to record something into this capsule. Do you believe we can save Lesser Lord Kusanali? Good. Conviction now. Please get ready and put on this...
You want us to record our conviction?
Yes.
Paimon is still...
I understand. But trust me, Paimon, this is something we have to... Because, to achieve this impossible task, it sounds like you'll need to fool your own heart first.
Paimon can see the point you're trying to make.
Imagine this. We have orchestrated our plan and successfully rescued Lesser Lord Kusanali. Everything went without a hitch, and everyone recognizes Now, open your eyes. Here.
What's this?
Read it out loud. It's done.
Is your head okay? Does anything hurt?
It's just a recording. There should be no negative effects.
But what was the point of doing this?
And that's perfectly fine. In any case, these capsules aren't meant to be used by you.
Huh? What do you mean?
Have you forgotten? Our plan needs to account for those who have long relied on the Akasha. You may find it hard to believe, but for those people, everything the Akasha transmits to them is nothing short of absolute truth. Imagine if you've been using a device like the Akasha since the day you were born. And this device has always... After all that time, what do you think? A slave to orders. And that's why rules are so important. In addition, those who understand the rules can delineate boundaries and identify gray areas.
But why would you need to identify the gray area?
You could say that those kinds of ambiguous zones can be very interesting. One might even say they're advantageous.
Things you're interested in are really out there. Are all Sumeru scholars like this?
Anyway, that's enough chit-chat. I'm going to take those two to work on some small projects. You can head to Caravan Rebot and start preparing for the...
Small project?
We're going to tinker with the Akasha terminal and make a few...
मेरे को तो समझ में नहीं आ रहा।
Weather is more enjoyably spent under the cover.
जाओ मारो क्या है?
We agreed on a plan.
The plan is too radical and carries a high risk for casualties. I've given it a lot of thought. And in the end...
But it's still the best plan we have. As a former Matra, you of all people should be able to see the bigger picture and recognize the innate advantages.
I did. And that's how I saw the danger behind these so-called advantages. Hatham's plan is even more radical than I imagined.
Huh? Why are you guys arguing?
My friend, you're just in time. What?
We agreed to work out a plan at the meeting. As mercenaries, you're familiar with the local environment. So had I known Hatham would give you those kinds of suggestions, I would not have agreed.
Look, you already know that we're all on the same side here.
Mercenaries place a lot of importance on their bonds of friendship, but also will not hesitate to make sacrifices if they deem the situation to be sufficiently dire.
Seems you really do understand.
Traveler, Paimon. Rahman's plan is to have me work with the Caravan Reebok guards in my capacity as a Matra. We will arrest the mercenaries and escort them into Sumeru City.
Wait! How can we work with...
We can't get through that wall easy. My plan will clear us of any possible suspicion, and also let us enter the city as a big group. There is no...
That also sounds like something Hatham told you.
Doesn't Hatham know how dangerous this plan is?
Of course he does. He told me. There is no perfect plan. But he also said that with the help of Sino and the Traveler, our chance of success would increase. I never blindly trust anyone, and I've always had a good eye for people. I think he made a number of valid points. It's my own choice.
If I make the arrests alone, I can control myself and prevent you from getting hurt. But I can't guarantee that kind of discipline from the guards. To make the whole thing more convincing, you'll need to resist to some degree. I'm okay with the deaths of enemies. But now that we're allies, I'm against...
I can't believe a Matra would actually care about us. I've lived a hard life, and...
I've always treated my allies with honesty and respect. They have the right to know important things.
Now you're making this hard for me.
Hey, is there something we can do to help?
I knew you would say that.
We can help fight some of the mercenaries, which should reduce the number of times you'll have to struggle directly with the guards. That should help at least a little bit.
Sino, on behalf of my people, I thank you for your kindness. But this is a mission we cannot turn our backs on. We have no fear of casualties, because we crave the spoils of victory. So please, lend us your support. We will...
Well, now that you've put it, but remember, you need to follow the plan and not do anything reckless, since you and I both recognize the significance of this operation. There should be no...
Okay, you have a deal.
The guards should be stationed in the courtyard nearby. You can find them there. Guards!
General Mahamatra! To what do we owe the honor?
Keep your voice down. This is a secret operation. I'm going to arrest a large criminal gang near this location. According to the Academia's Guide and Regulations on Secret Operations, I have the right to ask for the cooperation of Caravan
Of course. Mahamatra Sino's order is the Academia's order. But who exactly are you planning to arrest, and how many people are you expecting?
They're a squad of Eremites whose number is comparable to Ain el Akhmar in Port Ormos. They're involved in the theft and resale of
as many as Ain el Akhmar. This should definitely be classified as a joint operation.
Then I suggest that you report this to your superiors as soon as possible.
Got it. Please wait a moment. I'll contact them immediately.
Because this is work. Because I trust you.
Paimon can't believe you're still in the mood to chat. This whole thing, aren't you even a little worried? What if these guards already know that you have betrayed the Academia? Even if that guard doesn't know, their superior—
We discussed this, remember?
The caravan rebot operation is of great importance. But don't worry.
How can you be so sure?
First, the other Matra still don't know why Sino has left, which proves that the Academia has been covering up the matter.
Second, this is a crucial moment for the Academia's God creation plan. If something were to happen to the General Mahamatra, it's bound, no matter how you look at it. They don't seem interested in sharing the news.
A reasonable inference.
Which brings us to our next issue. I'm sure some of you have been wondering if the prediction function—
The Akasha is still in operation, so I'm actually— considering the power of the Akasha, it's quite—
I've given that a lot of thought. For now, I don't— If you remember, when you first came to Aru Village, all your actions and routes were predicted by the Akasha. It even gave that information to those who kidnapped the village. But things like that never happened again after we met up with the travel.
That's true. But what—
Look at it from a different angle. Why do you think the Akasha will predict your action?
Because my personal data has been entered into the Akasha.
That's true. But the key to this question is, haven't you ever thought about it? Just how can it do this in the first place?
Because the Akasha controls the entirety of Sumeru.
The Academia firmly believes that all human actions can be explained through
By sorting and analyzing entered data, the Akasha can derive behavioral logic and predict the actions of— However, at the risk of sounding like an advocate for fallacies, can everyone truly— Emotions are part of our behavioral logic. Every single— Sino, in the past, you've always worked alone. In the absence, decisive and principled, you were used to solving problems alone. That's why the Akasha could figure you out. But now, you've joined a team. Our thoughts and logic have intermingled and weaved themselves to— The Akasha lacks data on these interactions, and it's impossible for it to predict— So, in my opinion—
Makes sense to me.
I guess there are things that even the Akasha cannot calculate. And people will not be forever trapped.
Paimon.
Next time, pay attention during our—
Will do.
Just remember to stay vigilant.
Footsteps!
General Mahamatra, we were not expecting your presence here. I'm the security officer of the Great Red Sand.
This is my assistant, the Traveler. He will be working with me. The construct next to him is for his—
Beep! Construct!
What a great honor to meet you. Your golden hair is as bright as the sun. And, is this the latest technology from the Academia?
Have you made a decision regarding the matter I mentioned to your subordinate?
It seems to be a dire situation, so of course you will have our full—
There's no need for flattery.
Yes, sir.
Take your most elite platoon and follow me to the eastern side of the district. We will carry out the—
Understood.
Map.
Hurry, bring the map!
In 2 days, we will engage Rahman's Eremites and capture all of them. Any questions about the time?
None at all, sir.
Good. See you then.
Yes, sir.
Maybe hanging around the General Mahamatra isn't so bad after all. Everyone's so respectful towards us.
This is all due to the absolute authority of the Academia. And now get ready.
ठीक है हो गया ओके अच्छा सॉरी
It's time for the operation. Let's go meet Sino in the desert. Over there! Our helpers have arrived already! Let's hurry over!
Wait a moment.
Ah! Oh, it's you.
You're my assistant, remember? Being my assistant, you must stay with me. Now let's head over there.
It's General Mahamatra and his assistants.
We meet again.
You're here.
It's to show how important we think the operation is. Since this is a big case for the Academia, we are prepared to give it our best.
I'm glad to hear your sense of resolve. Remember, they are our only leads for the case. If they die, we will be unable to continue.
Understood.
Everyone! The Eremites are approaching from the west!
Make preparations and be ready for combat. Halt!
Oh? What a warm welcome! What do you want? Judging from those shiny weapons in your hands, it seems like you're not interested in a deal.
Rahman, the Academia has caught wind of your smuggling and illicit sales. If you value your...
Who are you supposed to be? A Matra from the...
I'm not here to talk.
Oh, nobody's given me this much time of day since I became a mercenary. Brothers! For that slight, let's wash our blades with their blood. Let's...
Motion to compel. Laid bare.
एक तो मेरे जितना ही मार रहे हैं
We have subdued them. The operation is now over. All Eremite mercenaries and related personnel...
Ah, you pitiful Dendro Archon...
I'm afraid you'll...
King Deshret will curse you, and...
Silence!
Oh,
Restrain them and take them back to...
Yes, sir!
Mahamatra Sino, I will now take my leave. If you need further assistance, please.
Understood. You are dismissed.
There they go.
Let's talk elsewhere.
ये क्यों करना था
This part of the plan went really well.
Yes. Think.
That's fantastic. And that punch you gave Rahman there sure looked...
Once we're done here, I'll return to Caravan Rebot and oversee the group's transport. I promise. I'll get everyone into some...
Yeah, you're the reason why everything went...
It's not the time to celebrate yet. Go join up with her.
Speaking of which, is it really okay for us not to share the full plan with Tighnari? What if he'll feel miffed about it and refuse to work with us?
I have a very close relationship with Tighnari. Given how well we know each other, I believe my message alone should be enough to bring him to our side. If we need help, Tighnari, get ready for the next phase of the plan.
It's about time. Didn't you say our part of the plan is the most important of all? And here you come rolling in late. In the time it took you to get here, I already did 5 laps around the place, downed 7 drinks, and even did some clothes shopping.
Sorry. We didn't mean...
I just wanted to fix your attitude and rub it in a little. After all, you took your sweet time getting here, and we've got important stuff to take care of. I just like seeing that serious look on your face. All joking aside, I'm glad you're here. Let's get moving and take...
Well, where should we start?
Our responsibility is to get a status update on the Fatui Harbinger known as the Doctor. We need to make sure he won't get in our way when we rescue lesser... Dealing with an institution that controls all of Sumeru is already hard enough. If the Doctor were to crash the party, it would be next to impossible for us to achieve our goals.
Yeah, we sure don't want him showing up. Ooh.
Right? Hearing his name just reminds me of those stuffy old geezers in the academia. I'd rather not have to deal with someone like that. According to the plan, we should first go to Pardis DI and ask for Forest If all Hatham and Sino's sources are solid, then we can be sure that Tighnari still has the So, we'll find Tighnari and convince him to get us the latest intel on the Doctor. Then, depending on what we learn, the sages have placed spies everywhere on the other side of the wall. I'll follow you as a bodyguard. You should be honored. I don't offer my services to just anyone.
But Paimon thought mercenaries would do anything.
That's certainly true. But when multiple employers are vying for your services, you should always go with the best offer. Let's see. If I were to...
how much more do you want?
How much do I want? Hey, how about paying me with a smile? What do you say? I haven't seen you smiling much recently. If you ask me, someone like you must look lovely when they smile. Come on, give me a smile so that I can be less worried. Looking good! I hope this pretty smile will become our lucky charm. There are many kinds of smiles, but only a truly joyous one can bring blessings to others. Let's consider this smile a down payment for our future... Let's go. It's time to pay a bit...
ठीक है.
He's over there. Let's go say hi.
Hello.
Traveler, Paimon, and...
Hey there.
This is our friend Dia. She's an Aramite.
A mercenary? You must have some big news for me.
It's something really important.
All right. Then... This place is better. We won't be... Okay. What is this important thing you want to ask me? The Doctor...
He's that strange-looking Fatui Harbinger with the mask. Paimon thinks he has blue...
Yes, I know him. Actually, he left Pardis DI just a little while ago.
He left already?
Yeah. He came looking for me.
Can I ask what it was about? Sorry to ask you like this after having just met, but your answer is very important to us. For now, all we can share with you is that your friend Sino is working with us.
Sino, you said? I see. So that's why he hasn't been at the academia. Okay. I'll answer your questions and will assist you any way I can. You don't have to tell me everything that's happened.
Sino's name really does work wonders. You're not even a little worried that we might have made it all up?
Despite having just met you, I can sense that you're the serious type. Between you, the Traveler, and Sino, none of you strike me as the type that would conspire to deceive me. You don't need to tell me anything you don't want to. I'll also get straight to the point. The Harbinger you mentioned came to me because he wanted to take the scholar Hypatia away with him.
Hypatia? Why would he want her?
And what do you mean by take away? Is he planning to leave soon?
Yes. He told me his return to Snezhnaya is imminent. So you mean you're leaving this place soon?
Indeed. Otherwise, we could have perhaps talked a little more. I was just about to set out when I remembered something important. To that end, I made a final trip to Pardis Di. Let me ask, have you been taking care of a scholar by the name of
Your sources are accurate. No doubt because you've recruited many informants. But you're right. Hypatia has indeed been receiving treatment from me.
Forgive me for asking, but how's the treatment coming along?
Given the way you're asking, I assume you have something to say.
Since you asked, I'll be frank. I would like to take Hypatia to...
It's incredibly difficult to transfer a patient. As a scholar yourself, shouldn't you at least be aware of this?
Oh. I can't believe your utter lack of faith in me, to the point of even questioning my general level of knowledge.
Well, you're the only one who's ever made such a request.
I have my ways of keeping her safe during the journey. In addition, I can also promise that under my care, Hypatia will receive the most advanced and I will personally supervise her treatment and see to her recovery. Would that be agreeable to you?
Hypatia was born in Sumeru and
इसलिए
remains a
नाच
scholar of the
ले सकते
Academia.
हैं.
Her situation has not become dire enough to necessitate her transfer to another. Transporting her to Snezhnaya is risky, and the potential benefits are unknown. As the person currently responsible for her treatment, I cannot possibly sign off. Your suggestion is rude and reckless. I'll pass. I don't know much about the doctor, but after talking with him, I realized that just like many other scholars, he possesses an aura of arrogance that I've come to. It's not so much that he's looking down on others, but more that I would never refer a patient to someone like him. I prepared myself for a protracted battle of wits, and was really surprised to see him just give up on the topic. Still...
I see. Of course, your opinion makes perfect sense. You're still young, but already quite stubborn. I must say, you are not... Under normal circumstances, I wouldn't just let you off the hook like this. But unfortunately, I'm in a hurry today. What with Her Most Noble Majesty, the Tsaritsa, calling for our... Luckily, there is still some time left for me to take care of everything before I leave. It's just as the Academia said. You're a responsible and gifted scholar. Sadly, even with all of that, you're still lacking a bit. And that's also why people like you can never realize that sooner or later, everyone must pay the price for what they've learned.
Okay.
Paimon can't help but feel like he's hinting at something unpleasant.
He asked a question, yet didn't care for my answer. Perhaps I'm nothing but a talking rock in his eyes. He never came off as... From his tone, I can sense that he's always looked down on others.
I can barely believe it myself. But if that's true, the situation...
I don't think I missed any details. Frankly speaking, I don't want you to do anything too risky. Now that you know a little more, it should be...
Sorry we can't tell you everything. We appreciate that you helped us anyway.
It's okay. I have an obligation to do so. To be perfectly honest. Recently, my master wrote several letters to me, asking me to return to the academia and assist.
Hasn't he already asked you several times before?
Yes, but there's something off about this most recent batch of letters. The handwriting and the tone are both familiar, but my master will occasionally leave a few dots on the back of the letter. 1 dot means that he wrote the letter on a sunny day, and 3 dots stand for a rainy. This has been a habit of his for many years. But I didn't find any dots in his recent letters.
I get it. Since you are always at Gandharvaville, you would like me, someone already working at the academia.
I'd like to ask you to do that for me, if you can keep yourself safe. Please withdraw immediately at the first hint.
I can do that, but I have a feeling it won't be that. The academia has been working on a big project. I'm not quite sure what it is. If the higher-ups really are hiding something, then it will be difficult to remove myself from the situation once if the situation becomes critical, I'll leave the academia. If you don't see me there for an extended period...
All right, we've got a plan. I'll stay at Gandharvaville to...
If that scenario comes to pass, you must be extra vigilant. And be wary of any messages or...
I must say, I didn't expect a warning like this from the General...
Being loyal to the academia doesn't mean blindly doing whatever the sages say. I know what I'm... On that note, aren't you also being quite distrustful of your alma mater?
The academia, yes. But my master is a man of integrity. Even when I was a student, I was worried that he'd get in trouble for sticking to his beliefs. I suppose he's lucky to have lasted so long. But in the end, it's still caught up.
I see. So you noticed something.
This may well be how Sino became involved in all of this. In which case, also, if you run into Sino again, please help me pass on him. I think this may be something he needs.
Okay, we'll find a chip.
Thanks.
Right. Now let's go hunt. Oh, by the way, which way did the doctor go when he left Pardis Diak?
That way.
Gotcha. Thanks so much. We'll be on our way. According to Tainari, the doctor is leaving Sumeru soon. I want to check if he also said that he'll take care of everything before he leaves. What did he mean by that? Just to be safe, let's chase...
But we have no idea where he went!
We'll do it the mercenary way. I'll find leads as we go. That Harbinger may have tried to cover his trail.
Next second. मेरे हिसाब से that's it for today. हो गया.
Staring in, or perhaps he never even thought about concealing his whereabouts.
चलो भाई, that's it for today. अब हम मिलते हैं कल. ठीक है, बाय बाय, टाटा, सी यू. अबे ये ऐसा कम्युनिटी ब्रॉडकास्ट ही तो है. पता नहीं भाई. ओके. सही है शायद, साला नॉइस रिमूवल हाफ पे था। ठीक है, अभी तक कोई नहीं आ पाया हुए। सिर्फ मैं ही स्ट्रीम कर रहा हूँ क्या? इसे चेंज करना पड़ेगा। रेडी है ना? ठीक है, जो भी है। चलो गाइस, दैट्स इट, बाय बाय, टाटा।